All right, how the tables have turned for the Braves as the Marlins shut out the Braves 4-0. Not as impressive as 10-0 from last night. We don't talk about that. The Marlins shut out the Braves at Truist Park for the 12th time in Marlins history to shut out the Braves at that ballpark. So, I mean, games like this do not come as often. So, anyway, Cal Quantrill had himself a much better game than he did against the Mets. Way better game. A 5-inning shutout, although I feel like he could have pitched into the 6th inning. He has given up 4 hits, but he also struck out 4 batters. The other pitcher, A.J. Smith-Shawver, struggled big time. Yes, he has 6 strikeouts, but he has given up 7 hits and 3 runs. And he only pitched 4.2 innings, so 4.2 of the inning, which is 1 out less than Quintrell has pitched. But I digress though. In the first inning, let's go over the game. Edwards doubled to left. Okay, then that was a one pitch double too. He was able to get to second pretty easily. But then Stowers, also the first pitch, flied out to left, but an awful base running by Edwards. He should have stayed at second, at least I felt like. Although I understand why he did what he did, but I mean, you were in between the bases, so you were going for the base running in hopes that the ball goes over the left fielder. But he called it. You went back, and I felt like you should have stayed. You should have stayed right at second when you gone back to second. But no, you gambled to third. You gambled to third, and you got tagged out of third. It's a good double play. And Brian Taylor Cruz did that thing. Yeah, it was Brian Taylor Cruz, the former Marlin, made a pretty good throw. That pissed off a lot of Marlins fans. I'll tell you that. A lot of Marlins fans were upset about that because we traded a really good batter and a really good defender away. Anyway, Lopez walked, and then one pitch, four-seam fastball to Matt Mervis. He was able to hit that ball to right for a 2-run shot to make it 2-0 Miami pretty quickly. Matt Mervis with his first home run of the season, and he did that against the Braves. 2-0 Miami. Wagner walked and Conine struck out. Not a bad start. Now imagine if X stayed at second. This probably would have been 3-0. Anyway, all's forgiven. But on the first, Harris doubled to right, and here I am thinking, here we go again, Quantrill. But he worked out of that inning. The rest of the batters either lined out or flied out. Way to get out of that inning. The Marlins still knock on the door. They're still hitting the baseball. They're still hitting the double. I mean, Liam Hicks hit a double to center. That was a pretty good one. A big shot. A really big hit, too. And he was able to work a double. I think it was either that one or the one later that the ball almost went out of the park. And then Edwards struck out looking. This umpire, though, for both sides, I'm not just talking about the Marlins side, but for both sides, had a pretty lower strike zone than most. His strike zone seems to be a little bit lower below the knees, which if the pitch is thrown below the knees, it's a ball. But the umpire calls it. The umpire calls it below the knees sometimes, and I don't know. Anyway, De La Cruz single to right, double play. We don't talk much about that inning. Once again, Mervis hits a single, but that's pretty much in the top of the third. Bottom of the third, though, Kalenic singles to center. Harris grounded the fielder's choice. Okay, Kalenic's out that second. And then Ozzy Albies was hitting against Quantrill. But Harris the second was trying to steal second, but Liam Hicks made a really good throw, and he was caught stealing second, and he's out. Great play. Absolutely great play by Liam Hicks. Top of the fourth, though. Conine, thank you. Shut up. Anyway. Fuck, now the whole app has reset it. Conine struck out swinging. Derek Hill hits a single to left. Hill stole second. Poley then grounded to second. Hill was able to go to third. And then Liam Hicks, got an RBI single. Hill was able to score. It's 3-0 Miami. Okay. And then Hicks was able to go to second on a wild pitch. Smith-Shawver, it looks like he's taking the beating, and he's just not settled in whatsoever. So a wild pitch, Edwards walk, and then Stowers grounded to the pitcher. 1-2-3 inning, bottom fourth though. Top of the fifth, Wackerman was able to reach single, and then there was an error. That was like a wild throw. I mean, it was a nice play towards third, but that ball went out of play, which is an automatically a double by rule. So Smith-Shawver had to be sent off. So Jose Suarez comes in. He works Conine works a walk, and Hill grounded to the pitcher. Bottom of the fifth, De La Cruz. Actually, Baldwin doubles to left, and Allen struck out swinging. So still 3-0 Miami. Top of the sixth, Poley starts off with a double to the center. Okay, and Hicks with the bunt to third. That was a nice bunt. And then Edwards grounded to fielder's choice. And once again, this happened with the Mets series. Poley trying to get home. He was caught at home. And then Edwards got picked off at first base. He was initially ruled safe. Atlanta challenged this, and he was out. So that was a wasted top of the sixth. Bottom of the sixth, Henriquez comes in for Quantrill. Personally, I feel like Quantrill maybe could have pitched in the sixth. His only flaw in that inning was working a walk with Harris second. Other than that, nasty pitches. Top of the seventh, though, Stowers grounded to first. Lopez grounded to shortstop, already with 2 outs. Here comes Matt Mervis. Second pitch at the at-bat, the changeup, and he crushed it. He crushed this baseball. Goodbye. That went to the moon. He has a multi-home run game for the first time in his MLB career. Second home run of the year, second home run of the night. Congratulations to Matt Mervis. And then Wackerman grounded to second. And that's your score. 4-0 for the rest of the game. What ended up happening for the rest of the game? Bottom of the seventh, Atlanta was knocking on the door. Olsen singled to center. Riley did struck out swinging. That was a nasty pitch. And De La Cruz struck out swinging. That was a really nasty pitch. And then Veneziano starts to pitch against Baldwin. He singles to right, so that ain't good. So there's a man at second and a man at first. And let me see. Veneziano then throws a really filthy fastball, which then Allen struck out swinging. Filthy pitch. And that's one way to get out of that inning. Beautiful. Suarez still pitching for the Braves. Conine grounded to second. Hill struck out swinging. Poley only worked a walk, and that's pretty much it. Not much to talk about at the top of the eighth. Bottom of the eighth, though. Fairchild would hit for Kalenic, and he hit a triple. That is a base hit triple to left. I thought it would have been a error on Conine, but it's just a triple. It is a triple to start the bottom of the eighth, and the Marlins are in danger of losing the shutout. And it's a first pitch triple. Not good. So Veniciano is a little bit shaken by that triple, and that's his third batter too. And he was left out there for Harris the second, but he was able to get Harris to chase that slider, which was a filthy slider too. 1 out at the bottom of the 8th, and mind you, Fairchild is at third. Calvin Fauché then pitches for the Marlins for the next couple of batters. This was the same pitcher that gave up a home run from Pete Alonso, which that still bothers me a little bit. So anyway, Albies pitches a first pitch cutter. It's a ground out to second, and Fairchild stayed at third. If I was him, if I was in that situation with nothing to lose because you have a very low record, I would have just ran to home. I would have ran to home because Lopez, he was going to throw to first anyway. He took a peek to third. Lopez probably has a good arm. He has a good arm. I'll say this. But I would have ran to home. I personally would have ran to home. Instead, it is a second out at first, that's what you want to do anyway. Still still leading 4-0. Still have that shutouts. This game could have been 4-1. Why didn't he run? It perplexes me. And Ozuna gets caught swinging a fastball on the right side, and 4-0 still intact. It is a great pitch by Fauché. Anyway, De Los Santos pitches for the Marlins. Then struck out looking. Stowers was able to reach on an infield single and a couple of strikeouts later. Anthony Bender comes in to pitch for the Marlins. I don't think this is a save situation. Albies only pitched against 2 batters. This is not a save situation for Anthony Bender. But you want to bring out your closer anyway because this ballpark is a kryptonite ballpark against the Marlins. So you wanna try to get this win now, right? Not a good start though, and there was an announcer jinx. He was saying that Anthony Bender has never worked a walk in this ballpark. The next pitch, it's a walk to Olsen. Riley then lined out to right. De La Cruz then struck out swinging. And then there was a defensive indifference. So Olsen was able to go to second. And Baldwin flied out to center. And that's your ball game. The final score is 4-0. Marlins over the Braves. It's a good response. It is a good response. And Quantrill gets a win. He gets the win here. And impressive. The next game is tomorrow, 1 o'clock, 1:35. Although I heard there might be some weather problems. There might be some weather problems in Atlanta tomorrow. Let me check the weather real quick for Atlanta, Georgia. Let me see real quick. Right now, 74 degrees. Pretty nice. Expecting rain to start at 2 p.m. When are they going to get the worst of it? That's the question. Might be a little later. Okay, maybe the game will. I think the game will be played tomorrow. But if they some reason call the game off and postpone, then you probably will not hear from me regarding the Marlins. But I think they're going to play tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows what might happen? But there is weather concern for tomorrow for Atlanta tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with tomorrow. Either way, I'm okay with whatever. And I'll see you guys a little bit later. I gotta talk about the damn Heat. Back to normal, right? Anyway, guys, that's good to it for this one. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content. And Matt Mervis, have yourself a night, man. that's going to do it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.